Okay, hello everyone. Today we're going to be creating a postcard and we're going to be reviewing a lot of things. Not too much new, but practicing and reviewing a lot of what you already know. So what we're going to first do is open the pineapple image and the beach image. So I have two separate tabs, one with the pineapple and one with the beach. Now, as I'm looking at my workspace, this is something that happens. I've noticed this. We haven't really talked about this, but at this point, my layers panel is not visible. So I just want to show you anytime that you need to reset everything back to default, this is how you do it. Window, Workspace, Reset Essentials. Window, Workspace, Reset Essentials. And that will just put everything back to your default. So now you can see we've got a bunch of layers here. The top three are just hidden at the moment. And then for the beach, we just have the one layer. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with our beach. And we're going to bring it into our other project. So we're going to select all. Shortcut is Command A. So select all. Then we're going to copy. Shortcut is Command C. We're going to switch to our pineapple image and we're going to paste, edit, paste. Shortcut for that is Command V as in victory. Okay, now we've moved it over, but this image is too big at the current time, so we're going to be reducing it in size by half. So we're going to do this a little differently than we normally do. So we're going to do Edit, Free Transform, which is Command T, like we normally do, but this time we're going to be very precise with our measurements. So up at the top in the options bar, you have your x-axis, your y-axis, like, math terms. Then we have our width and our height and our angle. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 50% for our width. And it automatically, because we have this little chain link on right here where my mouse is, it automatically will adjust that to correspond. If we uncheck that, we could adjust them individual of each other. Then we're going to do the rotation at 15 degrees. So go ahead and put that in. And then, as always, to commit, you're going to hit the check mark at the top to commit. Check mark at the top to commit. And we're going to grab the Move tool. Shortcut for the Move tool is V, as in victory, just V. We're going to put our beach scene right up top there in the corner. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add an outline around it. Now, there's a lot of design things that we're going to be doing in this postcard that we're making, so you feel free to choose your own colors, do it your own way. You do not have to pick the same colors that I use. So I'm going to come over to my layer panel. I'm going to double click very quickly where it says layer 1. I'm going to rename it the beach layer. We're going to find the little FX at the bottom of our layer panel and we're going to select stroke. Now, if your layer style dialog box pops up and you can't see your beach layer, just grab a hold of it and move it over so you can see the project that we're working on. So we're going to do a 5 pixel stroke on the outside of our beach layer, and you're going to click right here and choose whatever fun color you want your I think I'm going to go with like a pink or a fuchsia. Pick whatever you want, whatever you think looks good, and then go ahead and click OK and OK. And you're going to see that reflected here in our layer panel under the effects. You can hit the little eyeball to turn it on and off. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and turn on the postage stamp, which is right underneath the beach layer. Now, this it's as if, we're making a postcard, so it's like it's from the post office and it got stamped. So this needs to be at the top of our stack of layers. So we're gonna grab a hold of it, drag it up on the top layer. And we want it to look a little more realistic. So we're gonna drop the opacity down a little bit, maybe so it looks more like a stamp. I'm gonna go with like 60%, somewhere in there, 55, 60, choose whatever you like. Okay, next up, what we're gonna do is we are going to be, go ahead and turn the visibility on for the flower. So we've got the flower there. And go ahead then and turn the visibility on for Hawaii as well. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we're going to add our clouds filter in our background. Now, you all should remember using the clouds filter before. So we're gonna click on our background layer at the bottom of our layer stack. And then we're gonna choose in our foreground box, which right now mine are on default. To set yours to default, you just hit the D key. And on my black box, I'm gonna click on it and I'm gonna choose whatever color you want for your clouds. I'm gonna do a blue. You could do something else. It doesn't have to be realistic. So use whatever color that you'd like. Now I'm gonna leave white as my background color, and then I'm gonna apply the filter. So filter, render, clouds. Filter, render, clouds. When you do that, you should see your clouds filter in your background. Looking good, looking good. Okay, next up. Now we are going to be working on Hawaii. So what we're gonna do is we are going to find our Hawaii layer, and we are going to load everything that's on the Hawaii layer. Now this might be a little bit new. I think we've done it before, but it's something we want to get in the habit of knowing and practicing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold down Command or Control if we're on the PC, Command on the Mac, and we're gonna click the layer thumbnail right here for Hawaii. I'm gonna do it again so you can see. So I'm holding down Command, and as I hold down Command, I click on this little layer thumbnail. The layer thumbnail is the box that shows the preview of what's on the layer. It is right here where my mouse is. It is not over here. It is right here. So when you click on the layer thumbnail, you will see everything on that layer is selected. So in this case, all of Hawaii is selected. It looks like it's got the little marching ants on it. So what we're gonna be doing is we're going to be applying a gradient to Hawaii. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find our gradient tool, which in my case, it's hiding underneath my paint bucket tool. So find your gradient tool. It's towards the middle of your tool panel. And then you're gonna double click up here in the options bar, and that's gonna pull up your gradient editor. Now, you could do a custom one. You guys all know how to create your own custom gradient by double clicking in the little houses right here. Or you can go ahead and use one of the preset gradients. Now you do have to click the little arrow to the left of the folder to get the folder to open. I'm gonna try this one because it matches the colors, or maybe this one. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, we'll try this one. So you go ahead and choose whatever you like. Once you have your gradient selected, you're gonna go ahead and click OK. Now this is very important to know also. Remember, there are 5 different types of gradients. We use the linear gradient, which is the first one the most often, but there's also the radial gradient, which is circular, the angle gradient, which has kind of like the line that goes to the center, and the reflected gradient. So if you would fold, I remember this because if you would fold this in half, see how the picture is like the same on both sides, reflected. so it is reflected. And then, of course, the diamond gradient. Now, I'm spending time going over that and pointing that out to you because that is always a question on the Photoshop test, usually matching. All right, so I'm going to use the first one, the linear gradient. And now you could do it left to right, or you could do it top to bottom, however you want. To make your line that you're drawing straight, you're going to hold down Shift. So I'm going to hold down Shift, and that's going to allow me to draw a straight line. And I'll show you, maybe I can try different directions. I just did it from the bottom to the top. Maybe I want to try it from left to right. So you can try it a few different ways. I think I liked it the first way the best. So just try it, the gradient, in different directions until you find how you like it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to deselect. The shortcut to deselect is Command D. Now we're going to add a stroke around the text. So Hawaii is the only thing on that layer, so we're going to go down to the little FX at the bottom again and select stroke. We're going to put it on 3 pixels this time, and then we're going to keep it on the outside, the position on the outside. Keep everything else and go ahead and choose whatever color you would like. I'm going to do a little contrasting color to help it pop. This lime green is great. And then go ahead and click OK. Okay, looking pretty good so far. Now we're going to add some text at the bottom underneath Hawaii. And in order to do this, we're going to scroll to the top of our project. Our top layer is our postage layer. I'm going to go ahead and click on our postage layer. And then what we're going to do is we're going to find the horizontal type tool, which we've used before. So go ahead and grab that. And now we're going to go up to our options bar up here at the top. And we're going to select the font that we think will look nicely with Hawaii. And then we're going to choose, well, let me choose my font here. I'm going to go with Arial Rounded. You go ahead and choose whatever you want. And then go ahead and click here. This is where the color is for your font. So I'm going to do like a lemony color this time. A lemon lime. You can always change that. And I'll show you or remind you how to do that then. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to choose center alignment. So I'm going to click in the middle of the W, underneath the W in the center. Ooh, that was huge. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and type Island Paradise. And it's centering it based off of where I initially clicked. Now this is way too big. Maybe yours is too small, too big. So I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to come up here, and you can do the drop down to change the size. Or we already learned this, where the TT is, I can take my mouse and just roll over top of that. Oops, let me make sure I spell paradise right. Did I get it? Yeah, I did. Okay. And actually, I'm going to do this all caps. Yeah, let's do all caps. Okay. So we have Island Paradise. Now, I'm liking that. I'm going to change the color just to kind of go over how to do that. So if I select it, I can again change the size. I can also change the color. If you want to see what a different color looks like to preview it, you could do it here. Red looks good. Blue kind of blends into my, ooh, that teal's kind of nice. All right, so I'm going to leave the teal for this design. I'm going to click OK. Now, I'm not loving the font I chose, so I'm actually going to, with it highlighted, I'm going to go and try a few other ones. I don't know if you can see, but it's actually changing as I roll over top of the different fonts. Okay, I like that a lot better, and you always have to hit the check mark at the top to commit your text. So we're on our Island Paradise layer right now, so we're going to go to the little FX, and I'm going to choose Drop Shadow. And go ahead and you choose whatever settings you think looks good here. It's not going to be super obvious. And then I'm going to click OK. And I'm just going to hold down Option on the Mac or Alt on the PC. And as I hold that down, I'm going to grab a hold of my drop shadow and I'm going to drag it to the Hawaii layer, and that will just copy that same exact drop shadow from the Island Paradise. It will copy it right to the Hawaii layer. Okay, so I just went and added the flower, and you could do this at the beginning. It probably is easier for you to do it at the beginning. I'm going to close out of the beach layer because I don't need it, and here's my flower. So I'm going to repeat some of the same steps to bring the flower in. I'm going to select all, Command A. I'm going to copy, edit, copy, move to our postcard, and I'm going to paste. Edit, paste, or Command V. Now this is really big, so I'm going to do Command T. And I'm going to shrink it down. It's going to be in our bottom left corner like so. Once you've shrunk it down, you're going to hit the check mark at the top to commit your transformation. Now at this point, it's actually covering up Hawaii. So I'm going to be dragging this flower down my layer stack until it is underneath the Hawaii layer. Okay, there we go. And I am on the move tool, and I'm just going to move it around just a little bit, adjust the placement of it. And I am going to add a little color change to it also, just to kind of make it pop a little bit. And that is going to be under the FX, and I'm going to go to satin. So when you do that, you're immediately going to see it kind of got a little darker, a little purple. Go ahead and play with the settings a little bit right here until you're happy with them, and then go ahead and click OK. All right, just a couple more things and we will be finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the pineapple layer, and we are going to duplicate that. So shortcut to duplicate is Command J, or you can do it the long way, which is layer, duplicate layer. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're really going to make this pineapple pop a little bit, and we're going to be changing the layer blending mode. We are going to change the blending mode right here to overlay, and that's just going to make our pineapple pop and change the lighting a little bit. So it looks pretty good, and we are now finished with our postcard. So we're going to flatten it, save it, and turn it in. So layer, flatten image, file, save as.